Welcome to Real Talk Christian Podcast, where we drink coffee and have real conversations on faith, culture, and society. This is Mark Hyde.
And Chris Fuller.
And on today's episode of Real Talk Christian, we're talking about peacemakers and what does it mean to be a peacemaker in today's world. Fuller, you ready?
Let's go.
Let's go. Bro, what is you doing?
Oh, sorry. I was doing my imaginary tambourine.
Bro, what was you doing?
That's a CCM, man. That's a CCM tambourine.
Yeah, you sound like a boomer just saying CCM.
Well, it's because if you remember, all the CCM music used to have, every song had tambourine
That's
in
true.
it. So
okay.
That's why I used it.
Fun fact to start the episode.
You hear that, Beth? That was his fun fact.
You like that? At the very end of, not at the very end, I don't know why I was saying that. No, at the very end of the episode, I was thinking. But the church I was at back when I interned here locally down in Bremen, there was a tambourine, and one of the people who was on the worship team, every time they sang, they had the tambourine. The worship pastor started hiding the tambourine, and every time this dude was on worship team, he freaking went and found the tambourine.
Tambourine.
So I mean, it was at least on rhythm and it was on beat, but we're like, dude, you can't have a rock and roll song with a tambourine.
Sure you can. You've never seen me. So Paul Lindgren, we got to put you in touch with Paul. I have so many stories.
Dude,
so
we need to just have Paul back on the show. I don't know, man.
But I used to drive a Mercedes E320 back in the day.
So what?
94.
Wait, what does that one look like? Is that like the cheap Mercedes? Like
it wasn't back in 1994.
That's true. Was it like? But was that like their intro class? Like I'm trying to think.
No, it was their upper class.
Oh,
so it was.
Somebody was fancy.
It was luxury. Well, I bought it in 2008 or 2008,
and that was pre-family,
and that was 1994 when it was made. So
it's an old little thing.
It was,
and that was pre-kids.
It was pre-kids,
and pre-wife.
But anyways, I used
Anywho.
I used to carry around a tambourine, and I would play it on the steering wheel.
No, you wouldn't.
All the time.
So
Dude,
while you were jamming, you would play on in your car
all the time, everywhere I went, and Paul will attest that. And so, as a joke, when I did get married, Paul used to tell that story to Janelle all the time. And so Janelle and her family bought me like these little mini tambourines for my fingers.
Oh, come on.
So they said that I could be safer when I drive to do the finger tambourines.
Oh, goodness. But either way, happy Thursday, everybody, if you're listening on release day.
Yes.
Which not everyone listens on release day.
Third week in January.
Dude, we are
it's a little chilly, a little cold.
Dumpster fire 2020 is behind us.
We're in the Arctic freeze of 2021.
We don't know yet. We don't know. We still don't know who's president at this point. Every date of recording.
But by now, the inauguration should have happened. Right? It's January 18th, I believe.
But doesn't matter.
But right now, at time of recording, it is November something. I think 19th. Time of recording.
Well, we don't want to give away how far away we're recording.
Well, all right. So
give them the scoop. Give them the
real
inside
talk.
family's
real talk.
Scoop.
RTC real talk here. So Mark and I
need some like soft music to play underneath you when you do this, but I don't have any.
We need like an epilogue type music.
Yep, that's what I was thinking too. I got the Halloween music.
Let's do the Christmas music.
Do the Christmas music in January?
Yeah, sure. Why not? It's cold. So here's the story of a lovely lady who had 3 blonde children of her own. Oh wait, that's the Brady Bunch. Sorry.
I'm like, where is this going?
It's like what? So. Last year, early on, Mark and I decided to do a thing where we batch recorded prior to Thanksgiving in order to have Thanksgiving through Christmas off, but still being able to bring you, our listeners, content every single week. It gets kind of crazy with our schedules during this time in the holiday season. So we do this. We don't want to just stop the season halfway and like make everybody wait, because if you're like me, when I listen to podcasts, I don't like that. I personally like to continue to listen. We do a break in the summer for
we did a month this past year.
The end of a season. So we ended season 1. We took a month off and no content for that month. And then we went into season 2. And so we decided that was the way we were going to run it. We're just only going to take a month break once a year, and that's going to be summertime. And then the rest of the year, you guys are going to get content. So
there you go.
We're batch recording for the holiday season,
so we can enjoy holiday with our family,
and you guys can continue to enjoy RTC through the holidays.
I love it.
So
that Christmas music. That was some solid Christmas music behind it. That was a jams.
But we really do need to download like a monologue.
We do. We really do.
Like type of thing.
But anyway, get into the podcast.
Yeah,
we're just gonna go quick, bro. We got no reviews to read. Right.
No coffee. We're drinking.
Okay. Yeah. But
LaCroix.
we're not just drinking LaCroix. We're drinking watermelon LaCroix.
And the more I drink it, the more I like it. When
It's different, bro.
When I first drank
different.
it was like, it's like I like it, but I kind of don't like it. But the more I drink it, it's like, all right, it's growing on me.
Before all the people be hating on me for having LaCroix watermelon in my fridge,
LaCroix.
I do drink LaCroix, but I bought this on accident.
But
I bought it all these.
I don't know why you're ashamed.
But could you imagine? Okay,
why are you ashamed?
I'm not. It's because I guess I'm a millennial, so it fits. But drinking LaCroix, just.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about the watermelon.
Oh,
flavor.
well, this is what's funny. Okay, so
you're like, it was a mistake. That's the first thing you told me.
That's why it's funny.
I meant it was raspberry.
It's
I thought it was.
But could you imagine like expecting like a raspberry hit, and then all of a sudden you get punched in the face with this? You're like, what on earth did I just drink?
Yeah, that would be weird.
So I keep this intentionally in my fridge because when it's like 3:00 in a work day and you're like, I've had so much coffee, I don't want water. I still want something to get me through, but it's not something that you're gonna drink a lot of. It's just something to sip on.
Can we agree
it's different
that LaCroix and bubbly and all those are only good to drink when they're cold? They are horrible when they're warm.
Why would you drink one when it's warm?
So I used to buy them, right? Or
right.
Janelle, let's be honest. Janelle used to buy them for me.
Dang it, Janelle. No.
No, it was good. I asked her to. But
way to be Janelle.
I would put them in my lunch pail.
Oh.
And then, I wouldn't get to them right away or whatever.
Right.
And
right.
And then they would get warm. And they're disgusting warm. So I stopped drinking them altogether. But the past couple of times, a couple of weeks, so I've been drinking one of yours. And it's like, I might have to go back to buying these.
But so I got this at Aldi's, the good old Aldi. So for all y'all asking us, because there's some people who actually reach out to us and say, like, we actually thoroughly crack up when you guys talk about what coffee you're drinking.
Well, I mean,
you gotta mix it up when it's really late.
We got to keep it light before we get heavy, and then we end it light again. So that's,
But watermelon LaCroix, Fuller asked me before he drank, he's like, is it good or is it bad? It's like, yes.
And you were right. It was 100% yes on both of those.
It's the kombucha face girl. You have that little like,
It's a
It's kombucha girl face that you make with LaCroix. But either way, we ain't drinking coffee.
No, we're not.
We're drinking watermelon LaCroix to bring you how to be a peacemaker.
You got to sound sophisticated when you say it, though. It's
LaCroix. I can't do that.
LaCroix. I don't know. Okay,
Anywho, so today we're talking, and we're going to keep this one short again. We're going to work on two long, amazing interviews.
We're at 8.5 minutes, so we're going to have to pick it up.
Man, but we've had two great interviews to kick off 2021 with Andrew Wood talking about pro-life after birth, and then with Cope talking about how to talk about raising Christian kids.
Right, yeah.
So two amazing long conversations.
So we're going to keep this one a little bit shorter tonight. So we're going to just plow through it.
Ooh.
You like my snow reference? Plow through it. Anyways.
Are you doing it with an equally yoked plow?
No.
Well, that's
I'm doing it with a big truck.
All right, let's go.
Anyways, so we're gonna, it's just me and Mark again, and Mark loves quotes.
I do.
So
I do
my best to be a peacemaker.
Aw, bro.
Put the quotes in here for him.
Thank you.
You're
so cute.
This one comes from Jim Wallace, and he says, "Anyone can love peace, but Jesus didn't say blessed are the peace lovers. He says peacemakers. He is referring to a life vocation, not a hobby on the sidelines of life."
Whoa, okay, back up.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Jesus didn't say blessed are the peace lovers, but peacemakers.
Right.
He's referring to a life vocation, not a hobby on the sidelines of life.
Right.
Did you just describe the American church?
Yes, twice over. Anyways,
holy snap, dude!
So
that's a quote.
So let's discuss a little bit. Where does this come from? This word peacemakers.
Why don't you let the peoples know, Fuller?
Well, anybody who's spent enough time in church should know where this comes from.
But if you don't,
that's okay. We're going to describe it now. And then those who are newer to the faith, this will be a good time for you to learn this as well. But this passage comes actually from the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5, and it is the 7th beatitude. So it'd be verse 9, because the first 2 is describing that he's up on the mountain getting ready to speak. So verse 9 talks about, and it says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." So this is Jesus directly saying this. So blessed are the peacemakers, right? So what is a peacemaker?
Yeah, this is kind of one of those verses that I see a lot of cops post on their Facebook walls, and cops get tattoos, because they're supposed to be the peacemakers.
I've never seen that.
Maybe it's just the cop friends that I know.
Maybe they're Bucci cops.
There you go. But blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God.
Right.
Okay.
So first of all, there's a huge difference between a peacemaker and a peacekeeper. Okay.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
So a peacemaker goes into bad situations and makes peace.
Okay.
Hence the word peacemaker.
Right.
And peacekeeper is already been established. They're already in a situation of peace, and they're maintaining the peace. That's a peace.
Oh, so okay. So kind of like when you have a business, you have the person who starts the business, but then you have someone who just manages the business.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good analogy. Good job.
Oh,
Mark.
thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
So going back into it though, so how does that seriously? How does that apply to the Christian life with peacekeeper versus maker?
So we're not called to be peacekeepers,
okay,
or just peace lovers, as Jim Wallace says.
Right.
Peacemakers. That means we're supposed to go out into the world and make peace, create peace. That means going into the situations in the characteristics of ambassadors of God, and in the characteristic of being Christ-like people, followers of the way,
right,
which means fruits of the Spirit come into play here. You got to do it in gentleness and love, and in peace, and in long suffering, and all these things, not at the tip of a spear. right. So there's a huge difference, and this is where I think, the church has a bad connotation of, well, you guys are persecutors. Just I always hear this. Just look at the medieval times and the Dark Ages.
Okay,
talking of the Catholic Church and the Crusades.
Okay.
That they're like, see, they said they were being peacemakers too, but they did it at the end of a sword.
Right.
It's like, well, everybody makes mistakes.
Right.
I mean, I've always said that was a thing that the church did that should have never been done.
Right.
We should have never.
Agreed.
First of all, the kingdom is not, if they were following the true Jesus of the Bible, the kingdom is not of this world. And if it were so, his disciples would fight for it. But his disciples didn't fight for it.
And Jesus told them not to.
Right, exactly. He told Peter to put away his sword, sheath his sword. And so we were never called to create peace by the end of a sword. So how were we called
and before
create?
You go into that, if someone wants to see what it was like in the medieval time with actually the way the church was a part of the infantry and all the different things, what was that one show? Was it on Netflix? That medieval time show where it was like all about the Crusades, and there's the one guy who was very high up, and then he fell from ranks.
Nightfall. And
I'm not saying that watch it in terms of for theology, but that's a very good description of how they viewed God and the sword, and how they brought the God's kingdom through the sword.
Very often that connotation of being peacemakers, well, I'm doing peace by the sword because I'm creating peace.
I'm going to shut you down and make
I'm going to destroy those who oppose me in order to create peace.
Right.
And if this verse stood alone and theology of the rest of what Jesus said had no meaning or bearing on anything, then I could see how people could read it that way.
Okay. So what does Jesus mean then?
But because of what Jesus taught throughout his entire ministry about his kingdom not being on this earth, about telling his disciples that they were, or telling Pontius Pilate that his disciples weren't going to fight because his kingdom is not of this earth.
Right.
And then we look at the apostles and what they say. And there's something interesting that is said in James chapter 3, verses 17 and 18. And it says, and this is what a true peacemaker should look like.
Okay.
It says, but the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits, impartial and sincere. And a harvest of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace.
Oh, okay.
So it's an interesting thing here of how those two verses are, if you looked at them separately, you would be like, oh, that doesn't make sense. But
Right.
you put them together and it's like, okay, so wisdom is these things, right? These 7 things. And the harvestness of righteousness, right, which is wisdom, is sown in peace by those who make peace. So we're being a peacemaker in this sense. So I mentioned 7 ways, and verse 17 really talks about those 7 ways. And so I want to kind of take each one.
Let's do some Bible study together.
Let's do that. Sorry, I had a LaCroix burp.
Dude, the bubblies give you the burps.
Yeah, they do.
Whew.
So if I step away from the mic for a second, that's what that awkward silence is.
Yeah, I get that. All right, bro.
So the first thing we're told from wisdom up above is to first be pure.
Okay.
So what does pure mean? Well, purity has a couple different connotations. And one is, we talked about this, the purity culture.
Mainly with sexual purity.
Talking about sexual purity. Okay. And if you look at this verse and what it's talking about, in the pretext of this, it's not talking about sexual purity per se. Per se, which means that it definitely could be construed as part of it, but not the entirety of it.
Right. Like sexual purity is just a part of the whole package.
Right. So being pure is more talking about being sanctified in our heart, right? The sanctification process. And we're eventually going to we'll eventually get around to this podcast on sanctification. But
yeah, we've been waiting for it.
I'll do a quick synopsis of sanctification is the process of becoming holy or set apart. That is what sanctification means.
Right.
So we're becoming holy in our heart, and this is through following the laws of Christ.
I kind of think of someone when they talk about, their intentions were pure. Like they had pure intentions when they were trying to go forward and do this.
Right. And so if we look at Christ's laws, it's talking about love and loving our neighbor and loving others like like Christ loves us. And this is the way, the sanctification. So if you're looking at that, this is where the Old Testament laws would kind of fall into place, because if I'm loving you, I'm not going to murder you. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to steal.
Thank you.
I'm not going to do these things because I love my neighbor.
Oh, and I'm his neighbor.
Hello, neighbor. Won't you be my neighbor?
Beautiful.
So the next thing of being a peacemaker, it says then peaceable, right?
So pure then peaceable.
Pure then peaceable.
Peaceable. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So, sorry, there was another one.
LaCroix's getting you.
It is.
Dang, 2 for 2.
Yeah. So being peaceable means not seeking strife or war. Okay.
Okay. So
I am not seeking out to create turmoil in somebody's life. I'm not seeking out to become at odds with somebody over just whatever. Now there's a difference between presenting truth and strife coming out of that truth, but we should never be the ones seeking it out.
Okay, so do you think this is talking about those people who are like, they just like to be antagonistic?
This is about the trolls. The trolls.
Oh, we going at internet trolls now. Okay.
I think that's what it's talking about.
And just in everyday, like people who like to see, like people who like to watch the world burn.
Oh, very much so.
Well, first light the match and then watch it burn.
They're definitely not peaceable.
Okay.
So we're called to be.
So wisdom from heaven doesn't want to start strife.
Right. Exactly. And we're called to be at peace with all men. Be peaceable unto all men. So it's very important that we don't seek out that type of strife or war or trying to cause issues or dissension in the church and stuff like that. We're living peaceably, right?
Mm-hmm. I wonder how that plays into being a pacifist or not in terms of war, which I don't know if we have time to go into tonight.
Let's
keep going. Let's keep going.
No. Let's stop there.
You want to stop there? Okay.
Let's stop there for a sec. We got a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So, a pacifist, sits back because they do not want to engage in an issue. So as a peacemaker, we're called, again, if we look back up, we're called to enter the situation, into hard situations, to create peace. And if you're pacifist, that means you're just not getting involved in whatever's not peaceful.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right. But I mean, most pacifists is more because of mainly I think of Mennonite churches and that sect where Quakers where they won't be involved in the nation's military even.
Right. And we could go into discussing that. I don't Man, that's a whole
other podcast. That's a whole nother podcast.
I'm a very patriotic person, so that's a whole nother podcast.
I think that'd be cool to get. I actually, this is a shout out, a call out. I think it'd be cool to talk with Joel DeMott about this because of him with it being a Mennonite pastor, and they preach pacifism, and what does that look like versus not? I don't know.
So that's more being a peace lover,
okay,
I believe, and it's not wanting to enter into the world that we are called to be ambassadors to.
Okay.
That's more of abstaining from involvement. And we see that this happened in 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, where Paul actually calls out those who are waiting on heaven and not getting involved even with work and stuff like that, because they're like, oh, well, the kingdom's not
Jesus
on
will
this
come
earth.
back and
well,
whatever.
The kingdom's not on this earth, and we're just going to wait on Jesus to return. And that's not what we're called to do. We're called to live in this world
and engage in it.
Right.
Okay,
correct.
cool. No, I like that. No, let's keep going though. So we got pure, we got peaceable.
So the next one is gentle.
Ooh.
Okay. So this goes back to partly speaking the truth in love, right? We talked about the Galatians 6 aspect of when we speak truth, we do it gently. And being gentle doesn't mean we shy away from truth or we shy away from situations. It means when we enter them, we are conscious about our words and our actions towards things to not be aggressive.
It's more so handling the approach and remembering that the person's the person.
The vocal tones, the body language that's being presented during that time.
So this kind of reminds me of the Andrew Wood conversation where he said when he was talking with people who are actually at Hope Resource and talking about abortion, where he's like, we call out truth,
right,
but they do it in a gentle manner.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I like that.
So we need to be gentle in these situations. These situations we're being peacemakers, right? So this is another attribute and another, I guess, characteristic of a peacemaker, that we can be gentle even in tough situations. I don't have to come in screaming and yelling. I can come in, and just through my vocal tones and my bodily actions and everything else, still speak what I need to speak, but not present something that's offensive. You know what I mean?
I like that.
So number 4 is open to reason. So the best way to describe this one is, again, with another scripture where it talks about being quick to listen, slow to speak, slow
which
to
also
wrath.
comes out of James.
Which also comes out of James. So it's being quick in situations where somebody could say something rather than jumping to a conclusion. You hear them out.
So don't do the classic Twitter joke about the oranges. It's like, I don't like oranges. Well, why are you saying oranges are bad? I didn't say oranges are bad. I just don't like them.
Right.
Like the classic
Right.
Twitter joke. Yeah.
Exactly. So we need to be able to listen and really understand the concept of what is being spoken, or the situation that's around us, really understanding the situation before we go charging in trying to create peace.
Gotcha. Okay. So open to reason.
So
okay.
Open to reason. Full of mercy and good fruits.
I like me some apples.
Yeah,
Sorry,
exactly.
I had a dad joke that one.
Fruit of the looms, right?
No.
That's what we all wear.
I don't.
Oh.
Boomer. Okay, boomer.
Hey.
Love that Karen. No, I'm kidding. I kid.
Don't be a Karen.
Oh.
Anyways.
Full of mercy and good fruits.
Full of mercy
what on earth
and
does
good
that
fruits.
mean?
So as we are given mercy by God, we should extend mercy. As we are shown forgiveness, we should extend forgiveness. So these attributes that God gives to us, we should extend. So if I slap you on the cheek, on the left side of your cheek, you should turn the right cheek, right? This is what Jesus talks about. That's showing mercy. I have every right, according, especially to the Old Testament, the Mosaic Law, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. We hear this so often. That is my right,
Oh, yeah, you hear that a lot.
But we get into the New Testament and we're called to take and show mercy, to not necessarily do what is expected or that we have the right to do, but to show mercy to those situations that maybe normally wouldn't require mercy. So, and this is part of the good fruits. And he says, full of mercy and good fruits. This is talking about the fruits of the Spirit, right? Gentleness, patience, love, loving kindness, long suffering. These fruits should be showing through a peacemaker.
Yeah, and you can see that in Galatians 6, 5?
6. Man, that's
Galatians
my favorite.
6.
That's my favorite chapter in Galatians.
And I'm thinking about what Coach said in the last episode about songs. Like, I know the fruit of the Spirit, because of an old Steve Green song, The Fruit of the Spirit, that I learned when I was like 5, and I can still whip it out to this day.
Let's hear it.
The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness. The fruit of the Spirit is gentleness, or is faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Because when you live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. Doo-doo. And then it just keeps going, then it repeats itself a lot.
So that was a special treat for
you like that? I think Capitol Records is going to hit me up, be like, Mark, we want you to drop that on a CD. I think that's what Capitol Records is going to say. Maybe Reach Records in Lecrae could drop a little beat behind it.
I love you, brother.
But no.
But I don't think
I have a voice that music
wise.
should not be put behind. Oh, goodness. All right.
All right, let's move on.
Full of mercy and good fruits.
Right. So let's move on to number 6, and is impartial. Right. So what does it mean to be impartial? What do you think it means to be impartial?
I mean, I kind of think of my kids being impartial towards my kids. If they both, I don't favor like Elliot over Evie or Evie over Elliot. Like, I need to be impartial towards that. They're both my kids. They both receive all my love.
Right. It's not showing favoritism.
Right. So I don't think, if I should, the whole idea of the neglected kid, like, that's being partial towards your kid.
Right. Well, and the same thing can happen in a certain situation. Say as a pastor, you're called into a marital quarrel. Where the husband is saying one thing and the wife is saying another. And what do? Do you take sides? Well, no, we got to be impartial and stick with the truth. Right. This is what the scripture says about the situation.
And so with this, not showing favoritism towards one group or another, I think of, is it 1 Corinthians? Where they're talking about the Lord's Supper and how the Apostle Paul said, the Lord shows no favoritism, but, they separate the rich and the poor. So, like, the rich are at the table and the poor are just out in the back picking up scraps like dogs. And the Apostle Paul says, like, and then he goes back to, no, like, there's neither Jew nor Greek, slave or free. We're all one in Christ.
Right.
So, therefore, God shows no favoritism, which is, I think, would be an interesting conversation about, did God favor Israel or not? Did God show favoritism? That's another conversation for another day.
We need to write these down.
We do. Someone who's my secretary could write that down. It'd be nice to have one of those.
Beth.
Calling out my crap for everyone to know.
Sorry.
Oh, goodness. I love it. But, so the fact of, even in the Christian world, let alone outside in the world, we're supposed to be impartial. So I think it's interesting how Christians, we're partial towards people inside our own community. How do you think we're being partial towards those on the outside?
And you have to ask yourself, if you're being partial, are you being loving?
Oh, you're being loving towards the person you're being partial toward, but not towards the other person.
Right, exactly.
So the answer would be no, which means you're not fulfilling God's commands of love your neighbor as yourself. And if you're not loving your neighbor, you're not loving God, which means you're breaking the greatest commandment, which means, snap.
So, yeah.
I wish I had a rim shot ready and I didn't. Okay, thank you. All right, so we rocked pure, peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits, impartial, and last but certainly not least, because we're not partial to any of these. What do we got?
Sincere.
Ooh.
So
okay,
it's again showing love by being sincere.
Did you just use the word in the definition?
I did.
You can't do that.
You surely can.
Well, what does sincere mean?
Sincere. I was thinking surely and sincere. Sincere.
So what is sincere like?
Sincere means.
Like, what does it mean? Like, seriously.
You really should have sincerely made fun of me there. Sorry,
I did sincerely make fun of you.
That's okay. And guess what? I'm impartial against it.
Be open to reason, bro. Come on now.
Sincere means heartfelt, right?
Oh, okay. Like, not fake.
Not yeah, exactly. When you're being sincere, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, Mark, I love you. Like, that's not sincere at all. That's not heartfelt. Heartfelt being like, man, Mark, brother, I really love you, man. Like, that's more of a sincere.
So what happens, though, if the person you're talking to has gotten under your skin, done some stuff, maybe they're not quite your enemy, but they're more like your frenemy?
Well, so
how do you be sincere in that,
That's when you got to be peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits, and impartial.
and go back to our episode on irresistible. Yeah, you just flipped that crap in my head, and then goes back to the not irresistible grace. That's the tulip. Undeserved grace,
undeserved
that we
grace,
receive,
and speaking the truth in love.
And those go back to those thought processes.
So even when somebody has wronged you, right, and you have to be sincere, you can still be sincere. I can sternly be sincere. Like, hey, I'm sincere, and I'm telling you right now, Mark, that what you're doing is not correct, and I love you. And that's why I'm telling you.
Right.
And that's still sincere.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay. So this is what the Bible says of what a peacemaker looks like. I'm thinking, okay, so how do we bring this into today's world? You know, we're in such a split climate with politics, right wing, left wing, with race, with socioeconomic status, the rich versus the poor, the business owners of, like, you know, the Amazons and Walmart versus the employees get paid nothing. Our world right now is literally the definition of choose a side and fight for your side. That's what America is right now. So how do we as Christians enter into that culture and be peacemakers to that culture? Come back next week to RTC and find out. No, I'm kidding.
So you had to ask the question. We were going to be able to land the plane, and then you had to ask another one. No, it's all right.
No, but we can answer this one quickly. I mean, obviously, it's going to look different in every situation. And if you apply the 7 principles, that should guide you through.
You have to first be transformed by the renewing of your mind, right? This is what Romans tells us. All right. So if you are not, again, back to studying the Bible and prayer and every other topic we've been building up on, you have to build those foundational blocks in order to be in the mindset and the heart set to be able to be a peacemaker, right? Because if you can't live out being pure, being peaceable, being gentle, open to reason, all these things, then you're not going to be as an effective peacemaker as you are called to be.
Right, okay.
Not that you want to be, but that you are called to be. That's a very important distinction right there. Because there's a lot of things I want. I like to eat ice cream, and I want a gallon of ice cream to eat right now, but
that'd be dope.
It's not what I'm called to do.
You know, not the rabbit trail, but we rabbit trailed.
Sorry.
It's going to be so nice in heaven when you can eat some ice cream.
And not get fat? No sin.
If I walk into heaven and God's like, okay, here's your house, here's Fuller's house, there's the gym, there's the, back up, Jesus. What?
But see,
sorry, Peter'd be showing us around.
But see, he's got a Dairy Queen right between the gym and our houses.
But if I got to work out in heaven, or in the new kingdom, New Jerusalem, and new heaven and new earth, and I gotta make sure I don't get fat in the new kingdom, that's gonna be sad because I have my perfected body.
I mean, we're part of the Baptist Convention, the Southern Baptist Convention, and we all know that there's gonna be a buffet up in heaven,
the Feast of the Lamb. The wedding feast.
The wedding feast, which means it's going to be a shindig.
I mean, watch The Chosen, the wedding episode. I mean, that was a partay.
It was a partay to the hilt.
Side note, if you haven't watched The Chosen yet,
watch Chosen.
Watch it now. But anyway, so back to this. What
was your question?
How do we, in today's very separated climate, step in as peacemakers?
So one thing we have to do is we have to really understand what these points are. And again, I would encourage our listeners to go to James 3:17 and 18. If you're not going to read much of your Bible this week, read those 2 verses and really sit and think about what those mean and what those look like. Well, it's coming up on a situation that is full of hate and showing love, speaking truth, but showing love. Mm-hmm. So in today's climate,
and do it in a sincere, pure way.
Right. We're going to talk about race a little bit here.
Okay.
So we'll come up, and I got somebody yelling at me, Black Lives Matters, Black Lives Matters, okay? Yeah, they do matter. And you know who else matters? Everyone that's made in the image of God. And that's truth, and it's sincere, and it's gentleness, and it's being open to reason, because I understand what they're saying.
And not just come back and slam them, but so what do you mean by that? Let's have the conversation.
And not just be like, all lives matters. You know,
right.
Yes, all lives matters.
But that's basically shooting the other side.
Right. And so
rather than let's go sit at the coffee shop and talk.
Yeah, exactly. And it's having those conversations. It's having those hard moments where we have to be we have to go into a situation and resolve the situation. So we have to live peaceably among all men, which means that if there's quarrel, we talk about if your brother has aught against you and you know about it, what are you supposed to do?
Go to him.
You're supposed to leave your offering at the altar,
at the temple,
and go to him,
right,
and fix it, right.
So
this is making peace with that brother who's at aught. Not that you have aught against, but that your brother has aught against you.
Right.
This has nothing to do with like, oh, I'm offended by Mark. It's no, Mark's offended by me, and I need to go fix it. I need to go find out why.
You're going to make peace.
I got to go make peace.
You know, it's something I think too that would help going into these conversations is having the mindset of being open-minded to the fact of I could be wrong, not prove me wrong, but you know what? Help me understand. I don't know if where I'm at is right or not, but just
asking questions.
Give me your viewpoint. And
asking questions.
Yeah,
and this is something that I'm still learning.
And this was this is going back to the I think it was the Uncensored series. Actually, no, it was the Real Talk series. One of the Real Talk back in youth group where the whole idea of this came from is the teenager said ask more questions than you ask, because the more questions you ask, the more likely the other person will be able to hear your side. And that's being open of like, hey, just help me understand where you're coming from. And when you do that, a lot of times they'll be okay. So where are you coming from?
Right.
And that'll let you be gentle and sincere and pure. And you're not doing it just to build clout. You're doing it to
even if they don't ask to hear your side, right? You still have a better understanding of their side,
right?
So when you do have to speak the truth in love, you know the better way to do it because you can speak to all.
And
points.
A lot of times, both viewpoints have a common goal. Like okay, so for like I think of the abortion conversation, both sides they have the same goal: is we want what's best for the mom. However, we were like, yeah, we agree with that. However, we come at it. We come out with completely different sides. Right. But the goal is, oh no, this is what's best for the mom. No, this was best for. Okay, so let's be open here. Let's have this conversation. But you still have to know what is truth,
right?
Because you got to speak what we said, the truth in love, in a gentle, full of mercy and matter. But you also have to be pure and sincere in how you do it.
So it all has a converging theme.
Okay,
you know what the converging theme is?
Guessing love God, love others.
You got it. Loving others. All right. So we go to make peace because we love them and we love God. So that's why we go to do this. And it's not, peace doesn't look like, it doesn't always have to be that you're agreeing to disagree, or you're agreeing, but you're not really agreeing internally. It doesn't have to be a giving in to things.
Okay. Not giving in.
That's not being a peacemaker.
That's being a peace lover.
That's being a peace lover, or a peacekeeper in some instances. So I think about marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if I disagree with my wife, not that I ever disagree with my wife, that's not true either. But if I disagree with my wife, it's holding back my true feelings, my true understanding of the situation, and my true thoughts to be a peacekeeper and just keep peace in the household. You still have to have the conversation and do it in all these ways we just learned about. Making peace, and it's also keeping peace. So, yeah.
No, that's really good, dude.
So you got anything else, man? Let's land this plane.
Let's land it.
We've been going
no, I mean, I think I've kind of said my piece on that. When it comes to being, you like that? That was totally an accident, but
peace.
So dang cool.
So peace, no.
Laters. No, but at the end of the day, you know, I like this list of 7.
Pause.
Come on now. You just paused me.
You said rabbit trail. You said at the end of the day, Janelle and I were talking the other night. She goes, you know, Mark says that at the end of the day, an awful lot. I'm like, yeah.
It's a segue term for me.
We say a lot of things a lot. I'm sorry. It was just.
That's really funny. But at the end of the day.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
No, but.
Unpause.
You're ridiculous. Sincere, but ridiculous. But, you know, at the end of the day, these 7 things I think are, you know, if we apply these 7 things, we take it, we think about it, we apply it, how much different our world will look. As Christians, how much different would our relationship with other people be? With our families, with our kids, with our spouses, with our best friends, with our frenemies, with our enemies.
Right.
How much would our world just look like a better place if we take these 7 characteristics to go change the world for Jesus?
It would probably look more like the heavenly kingdom.
Hey-oh, because these are attributes of the kingdom.
Ooh.
I love it. That's all I got, bro. What you got for final thoughts?
Nothing, man. I like I said, I encourage everybody to go listen to this Go read this scripture, or you can listen to
James 3, 17 through 18.
You can listen to it on YouVersion too.
There
so
you
I guess
go.
you could listen to it. But yeah, man, I just encourage people to go do that and look at it, study it for themselves. So that's all I got.
Time for Fun Facts with Fuller.
All right, my dude. We is in week 3 of January 2021. What fun fact do you got to carry us through till next Thursday, my dude?
I don't have a fun fact.
Oh, crap. Okay.
No, I have a fun fact. Come on now.
I mean, about to say, I'm like, oh,
Half of our listener base only listen for the fun fact.
Most of the listener base. Everyone's like, we don't care what you're talking about. We just want the fun fact.
Fast forward. Oh, there it is. Okay, found it.
Hey, good, we're good.
We hear the kids laughing. We know where it's at.
Well, my dude, what fun fact do you got for us today?
So the fun fact of the day is, did you know that cows hate country music?
Huh?
Cows hate country music.
But aren't like a lot of the dairy farms like
In the country?
Yeah.
Well, supposedly they hate listening to country music.
Okay, explain this, because this is I don't believe this. Cows
Okay.
hate country music.
So you'd think that cows would vibe with the country music.
You just use my word. I'm vibing with that.
You vibing?
Yep, it's a vibe.
But it's
Yep.
actually not the case.
Mood.
According to research, cows produce 3% less milk when listening to country music. The study was conducted on a Scottish herd of 45 cows, which were made to listen to classical music and country music. With classical music, their milk production increased, with one particular cow making 1 liter more milk than usual.
Dang.
However, with country music, 44 cows were observed to yield 3% less milk.
So what I'm hearing you say is country music is not the best type of music.
Not you can save a horse and ride a cow. Sorry, that was not appropriate.
Most people don't even know what reference you just said.
I know, that's why I stopped.
This is a Christian PG show.
I'll go back to this. She thinks my tractor's sexy because I think of the John Christ. Have you seen that video on YouTube?
Oh,
Where he's doing like a parody of like, she thinks my tractor's sexy. And so he's like driving a tractor and it's singing. And his like wife comes up with like lunch. And she's like, this is stupid. How is this even a joy? Eat your lunch. Why don't you just come in the house like a normal person?
our country folk and we interviewed two Tennessee pastors or ministry people in the last 2 weeks.
But I thought it was funny.
That's
funny.
Cows hate country music.
That 3% less milk.
That's something.
Fact.
Well, cows may hate country music, but we love you, RTC listener, RTC fam. We love you guys so much. Well, hey, just like always, we say this at the end of every show, we want to keep the conversation. So reach out to us, DM us on Instagram, message on Facebook, email, Twitter, call us, leave us a voicemail. We can get that to it, pipe it into the show even if we want to as well. But seriously, guys, hit it up, dude.
Check out the website, realtalkchristianpodcast.com, where you can get to the shop and buy some merch.
Buy some merch.
Some 2021 merch.
We didn't get a 2021 line.
We still have a lot of lines to do.
We have a lot of things to do. But either way, hit us up. Check it out. We want to keep the conversations going because let's be honest, real community starts with real conversations.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I love it.
I'm vibing with you.
You're vibing with that? Well, guess what? The cows were in mood. Anywho, but hey, we love you guys.
You're just milking it now.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, with that.
I don't even know how to end it after that. Well, until next time, guys.
Take it easy.